E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Natural Health and Wellness. On Wednesdays, we cover mentoring our youth. And on Thursdays, our new show, Ideas Worth Knowing. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. To be able to watch our television show on your favorite device, please go to e360tv.com and download the app for your favorite device. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and Donna Guinois. Along with our hosts, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Leda. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. My goodness gracious, we've got a wonderful show for you today. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. You know I got to give these folks a plug. The 6minutewebinar.com enables you to be able to get your client that's coming to you on one thing, share that one thing that you can do for them. They don't care about all the other things you can do. They want to know if that one thing that they're coming to looking for you to solve their problem or help them with their pain or whatever it might be. They want to know if you are the person they should be listening to. And within 6 minutes or less, you can have an introduction, a body, a close, and a call to action. Adam, how you doing today?
Howdy, folks. I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jim?
Well, I'm doing good once I cough a little bit. I'm pretty excited today. Right before we went live, ladies and gentlemen, I had to share some really good news with Adam that I received today.
It was very good news indeed. Yeah, I found it very heart-touching.
Yeah,
so to be not so punny, but punny.
Yeah, I hear you. Those of you that follow the show know that I'm 29 years of age. Plus a few decades. I'm 75.
Very nice for 29, still hitting the clubs, hitting the bars, making sure that you're relevant, keeping up with social media, networking at the bars. Yep.
Yeah, only in the canyons of my mind do I don't even think about bars, to be honest with you.
Never, me neither.
Yeah, I got quit drinking in 1981, and I haven't missed going to a bar since.
I feel like going to a bar and not drinking is underrated as well, because you don't have to go to a bar you can go for the music. You can be a music person and whenever people are asking, you having a good time? You're drinking? Absolutely. I'm just here for the music. The music is great.
Yeah. Oh, so, yeah. I hear you. But yes, I had a heart attack back in October of 2021, and I did not have any symptoms that I knew of, didn't have any problems that I knew of. All the tests that I'd had prior to that were, hey, you're in good shape, go. But I had the widowmaker, and that's an hereditary condition. And the widowmaker, ladies and gentlemen, it is a sleeper. When I say it was a sleeper, when I had my heart attack and they put me in the hospital and had me there the whole weekend, they told me on Monday I was going to have stents. It happened on a Friday night. And so I go in there for stents, and that's when they realized I had the widowmaker that required open heart surgery, 4 bypasses, all that stuff. And they put me, I didn't have any problem in the hospital. I didn't have any pain or anything, which I'm not complaining, but that's normal for open heart patients, open heart surgery patients. And they sent me home with a bag of medicine. And I was taking the prescribed medicines for the heart patient, and I didn't feel good. And I knew after researching, the information on what the side effects of these statins had on me, I knew that was not the best answer for me because of how I felt now and the long-term side effects. So I started doing some research, and that's when I discovered that I needed good vitamins, good minerals, and I found the Heart Health Pack. And I'm using cardiologists and studies, okay? I'm going to bona fide people, and I'm looking at the studies. I'm doing my research myself because this is my body. This is important to me. This is the only body I'm going to have, okay? And we know that's a little.
Oh, we're going to get into that today too, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a beautiful section here with Napoleon coming up later in a sec.
Yes.
But definitely on the health packs. And what they do for us,
yeah. And also, too, I discovered dandelion tea was a great benefit for the heart. One cardiologist said in his 10-year experience, the last 10 years he's been practicing, he says, I've never given any of my patients a single prescription for medication. I put them right on dandelion tea. And I have found it to be like a repair kit for the heart. So switching from the traditional medicines, going to the Health Heart Pack, and I don't have anything to sell you, okay, and using the dandelion tea, I'll be glad to share this information with anyone. Just email us here at the station here at inspiration at e360tvlive.com.
Foragers out there, yes, definitely come on out, let us know what you've seen. If there's any cool scientific genetic mutations that you've also found, because I've heard that those are things in different plants, and share your findings with us, because those are very important parts of our community as nature, understanding nature on a scientific level, as well as creating an environment for everyone to have access to that knowledge, so they have a better, healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, because as young people, this show's about mentoring our youth, but young people. I lost my dad way back in '78 to heart disease, heart attack, strokes. And so he didn't have all the avenues and things that we have now. The Heart Health Pack did not exist. The studies, the 20-year study on dandelion tea had not even been started.
No.
So I share that with you so that if you know of someone, male or female, because the Widowmaker does not discriminate. But that is that condition in your heart. It had over 90% blockage. And so I'm stressing this a little bit because there might be someone out there in TV land that's concerned about their heart. Email me. I have no products to sell, but I can show you where you can get it, and you can buy it at wholesale prices. And the dandelion tea, you can get that practically anywhere. It's got no caffeine in it, so it's a win-win situation. But the blood test that I have, that I took this morning, got the results in, and I'm going to see my cardiologist on Monday. He's going to be saying, what in the world are you doing? I'm taking the box of the Heart Health Pack, and I'm going to tell him about the dandelion tea. He already knows about it. But when he sees the results and the numbers, triglycerides, everything coming down, LDL coming down, he's going to be impressed. So I share that moment of joy and jubilee in my life with you for one reason and one reason only. There might be one person out there in TV land could say, hey, I want to know more about that. And again, I have nothing to sell you. I can share with you where I get mine from. You can choose to buy it retail or wholesale. That's your prerogative.
What you get is knowledge, based around what you can do for others in this particular case.
Yeah.
It's found in more than what you think. I mean, there are nursing homes that you may have come across if your family is in the nursing field. And it definitely, come around those kind of people and ask them if they have ever drank dandelion tea or if they've tried remedies and what remedies those are, because it's great knowledge for all of us.
Yeah, it really is. And do your homework on it. Study it for yourself and be sure, like I did, I told my cardiologist, I'm not taking these statins. They don't make me feel good. I felt like I was tight and stressed on the inside. I just didn't feel good. And after I got off those things and started going the other route, I started feeling much better. It's very common for me. In the morning, I'll take about a half a glass of dandelion tea, some water, ice in it. I take my AM pack of the Heart Health Pack, drink that, and I'm so used to it now, it's kind of like breathing. You don't even know you're doing it. But when I first got on, I felt, wow, I got energy. I want to get up and move. And so I did. And you know what I did, Adam?
What was the first thing that you did, Jim?
I went and poured myself a cup of coffee.
Hey! Still can't cure your caffeine addiction, but it definitely will get you jumping in your boots.
I mean to tell you, I enjoy 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day and in the morning. And, you got to fudge once in a while just to enjoy life. Can I get an amen on that?
Amen to that, honestly, because there's a lot to find around caffeine when it comes to you betcha.
Oh yeah, and the
the
cardiologist also. So I stay in touch with them, and they send me stuff, updates, and all that naturally. And we're going to get into the main theme of our show, but I want to share this with you. One of the things that came to my attention about 2 months ago, and I didn't think too much about it. Now I started thinking about it and researching it, and that was the chemicals and toxins in household cleaners are hazardous to your heart and your health.
So what you're saying is that the stuff that I'm wiping my counters with it has potential toxins?
If you read the label, you will see that you shouldn't use it on food surfaces. So what does that tell you? And I cannot name which ones.
No.
I'll just say the convenient little wipes that we use to clean up everything, quick cleanup and all that. Some of them contain registered pesticides. You don't want to put your food on that and then put that in your mouth.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of that. We're going to be talking today about mentoring our youth, and one thing that young people need to know, they need to know that, let's attack this for a moment, if we may, and I want to go out here on a little bit of a limb.
Okay.
I was requested to do a little short video for some young people that was shown all over the world. And these young people, one of the standard comments that they have, it's a myth that they think is gospel in their brain. The reason why they can't do something is because they don't have any money. Young people.
So financial backing is the issue that you're finding within the younger generation.
Yes, and what they do there, that gives them a self-justification to continue to live in poverty and accept failure. Now, the point of it is, if that is true, Adam, how can they possibly explain all of the rags to riches stories of people from all walks of life that's been told out there?
If you're putting in a perspective of a young person in today's world, our housing market's very high, our interest rates are very high, our taxes are, depending on where you're at, they're fluctuate. So within the degree of actually getting somewhere, there was a story about a man on the street, and I was reaching out to some people on social media, finding out some stories about people who are on the street, and I found this one gentleman. I'm not going to name names or anything, but he definitely was, finding himself when he went through the system, so to speak, in a matter of phrase. He found that once he was at a certain point, at the lowest point, it was a lot more difficult to get a loan for a home or, find himself in an area where he can be safe because of the low income housing. So depending on the situation that he was going through, although he worked, with being in an apartment, out of an apartment, back into an apartment again, and
Mm-hmm.
then getting it, just completely evicted.
Mm-hmm.
That portion there, a lot of people could possibly relate to that story because of how, when you're at that lowest point, how do you get up? And
Mm-hmm.
what is it that this rags to riches, community kind of can get you?
Mm-hmm.
And the communities that are surrounding the either, arts industries that you're interested in, find a slight niche for yourself to fit in,
Mm-hmm.
because then at that point, bringing it back to a high school kind of standpoint, we had a
Mm-hmm.
lot of cliques. Even in the 90s, we got cliques back, the
Oh yeah.
jocks and the smarties and the, of course, it's generational. So accepting that
Mm-hmm.
fact is,
Mm-hmm.
is allowing you to put yourself in a little niche community, gather a
Yeah.
bunch of people to watch some stuff, do some things, go out
Yeah.
there, reaching out. Networking is another phrase for that. It's
Mm.
so overused, but really just reaching out to someone, even if they got hundreds of thousands of followers, just find out what their email is that they use frequently, and or eventually find someone who knows someone that we could get in
Oh.
touch with. So that's
Oh yeah.
that's a beautiful part of, getting from a low standpoint, not being able to, I guess, reach out to people if you
Yeah.
look, and,
Mm-hmm.
and judgment is cast upon you because of your looks.
Mm-hmm.
I found many of photographers, they find the beauty that's within.
Oh
There
yeah.
is there's
Yeah.
such a discipline that you have to
Mm-hmm.
put yourself in when you're around a public space,
Mm-hmm.
because we're in a freedom country where it is okay to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
other people looking differently,
Mm-hmm.
but it is also, not okay to rudely put it in that tone
Mm-hmm.
of, judgment,
Yeah.
or cast upon them a negativity effect of some kind that may affect their
Absolutely.
mentality going down the road, just because they come from somewhere.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we've talked about, um, multiple different, parts before,
Mm-hmm.
where, people are coming up in these new, startup companies, or
Yeah.
if they're coming up from, different walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
for example, when Puerto Rico was getting hit and stuff, we had a lot of people coming in from Puerto Rico. I remember my school being filled up, an extra few hundred people, just because of a natural occurrence in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, that adaption is so crucial.
Yeah.
And it taught us that we have to be grateful for what we have, because
Mm.
some other people may not be so fortunate.
Yeah.
And
You
in
know.
that case, spreading the wealth and spreading the
Mhm.
care and joy, that
Oh yeah.
is how these photographers, street videographers, these vloggers, these streamers that are on the
Mm-hmm.
streets, they tell those stories so permanently and
Oh.
perfectively. So yeah, I,
Mm.
I just feel like if you're right place, this is kind of like love, right place, right time,
Mm-hmm.
right thing.
Yeah. And
I feel
let's
like
let's
those,
dive in
yeah,
let's dive in that a little bit. How can a
for
young
sure.
person out there who is struggling saying, "Well, I don't have any money or I don't have friends that are influential or I don't fit in with the in crowd." And I didn't fit in with the in
Change.
crowd in
Just
in high
change.
school. The
Yeah.
thing about it, Adam,
All right.
change your mindset. Walk with a swagger. Now, I'm not talking about puffed up pride like you're better than everybody else. I'm not
No.
talking about that. Walk with a confidence. And one of the best stories, and I've repeated this story before, but I'm going to repeat it again, is S.B. Fuller. We shared it on a previous broadcast. But S.B. Fuller was a little black kid who grew up on a farm in poverty. His dad was a sharecropper or tenant farmer, as could be known, and that's where the landowners own the land. They buy the seed, and the workers, they provide the labor, but they get a small piece of the pie. And by the time he was 9 years of age, a lot of people do not realize, it was very common in that day and time, back in the early 20th century, for a 9-year old kid to be in the field with a team of mules plowing. 9 years old. That was the standard. No one raised an eyebrow about that. He had a very unique mother, and his mother told him, says, don't you ever hear me hear you blame God because we're poor. The reason why we're poor is because your father has never had a desire to be anything else. And that really emblazed in his mind. So what he did, and this is the nugget of what I'm going to be talking about. I'm not going to go through all of his story like I did previously. But he left the farm. He went to Chicago, Illinois. He became a salesperson. He had such a work ethic about him, his integrity. That's something that didn't cost you anything. That's that swagger I'm talking about. Your word being your honor. You show compassion for others. And he had that. He demonstrated that. He worked hard. He saved $25,000. The company he worked for was going to be sold for $150,000. He decided he wanted to buy it. He had to put down the $25,000, and if he didn't raise the other $125,000 in 10 days, he'd lose his original $25,000. He got down to the 9th day. He was $10,000 short. And you can read his story.
You definitely want to put it to that last live to figure out if he actually did or not. But long story, see how he did it. I mean, you explained it perfectly the last time, and I feel that nugget is, just to interrupt you for a second, I'm so sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
But definitely putting it out there that you're checking out what we did before, as well as just understanding right now that your dedication, your passion, your desire, and eventually that will create your influence that you desire. Because if you have enough strong conviction, people will follow that.
Oh yeah, because it was on a Friday night, on the 9th day before the 10th day, he's got to have $125,000 or his $25,000 is gone. He's driving up 61st Street in Chicago at 11 p.m. on a Friday night. And he just asked for divine guidance. He said, let the light in the first business establishment be a sign for me. He walked into this business after driving block after block after block after block. And as a contractor, he knew the contractor a little bit. The contractor knew him. And he says, would you like to make $1,000? I said, sure. I need a check right now for 10. And when I come back, I'll bring the extra 1,000. And he shared with him what he was doing and all the people that were, involved in what he was doing. But the moral of that story is this. How did he do that? Because it was a good business deal? No, not at all. How did he do it? He had built a reputation. Listen up, young folks. He had built a reputation on honesty, integrity, his morals, his values, his ethics. He earned respect. What does that cost you? How much money does it cost you to demonstrate that you are a respectful person? That's the swagger we are talking about.
And remind yourself that your time is also a valuable asset to you.
Yes.
It is an extremely valuable asset, and every single moment that you can, appreciate and be grateful for that, do so.
And there's a great story here. I mentioned a lot Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret, because the message in that never grows old at all. And, Adam, I've seen businesses start up somewhere, and they're out of business, in a short period of time. And then another business goes in, same kind of business, and they flourish. And a lot of people think, well, they had money and all that. I imagine that played a little bit into it, but you can have the Brinks truck sitting in your backyard. If your business is not worthy to attract customers, you're not going to have any business. Think about that. And so what was the different ingredient there? It all falls under attitude. It has that swagger to it, that you are a person that cares. You are a person that gives. You give back. And I love what Emerson Brantley has taught me over the years, and that is this: your cause has to be bigger than you. Have you ever heard him say that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It is a beautiful phrase.
It really
and a meaningful
is.
phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Teaches
we
us
give,
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like to give the example that if you're going to go online and buy a pair of shoes, let's say, and you know what a good price is for it, and you click on this website, and they got the shoes that you want, the style, the size, the price, everything like that. And you look at another site, they got the same thing identical, except they have a little statement there that a portion of every sale is donated, let's say, to the St. Jude's Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Which one would you be inclined to spend your money with? Because now you have an opportunity to give back. The people's cause and what they care about becomes bigger than they are. And that's what attracts people to you. So if you're a young person out there and you're struggling, you don't have any money, I want the first thing I want you to do is just dump that idea that because you don't have money, you can't do anything. That is a myth. It is a rope around your neck with a cement block tied around the other end, and you're trying to swim across a lake. If you cut that rope, you set yourself free.
Be open-minded.
Yes. You know exactly where I'm going. You go ahead with that, because you can
Being
do a good
open-minded
job.
is so important, because even in this visual aid right now, it's allowing us to have a pseudo-therapy in a sense, because allowing yourself, let's say, just taking yourself and closing your eyes for a moment and taking some deep breaths and finding out where this brick, that is tied to you, that you're allowing yourself to kind of dig into negatively, impact you and hold you. And then find, a saw or a giant scissors or something imaginative to put in that mind that you have that is imaginative and creative, and sever that and create that connection between now yourself and the rope, so that you have something to, to grasp about, grasp on and hold to.
Set yourself
holding
free.
accountability, and being able to have that freedom because of your self appreciation.
Yeah, and your self-worth and all of that.
Being in that open mind. I mean, you'll find it that you can do a lot more open-mindedly than setting it as a course. As they say in Star Wars, only Sith steal in absolutes.
I hear you. One thing that a lot of young people do not realize, and a lot of older folks don't realize this either, life is really like a mirror. It's a reflection. If I say something bad about somebody, it's going to come back to me.
Definitely have something on that.
And Napoleon Hill gave a great idea about controlling he said the tongue. That's a nice way of saying keep your big mouth shut.
And holding it and thinking first before you really put what you're going to put out. And that's the common phrase, putting out what you're giving. Is exactly what it is nowadays. It's just, what do I have to put out into this universe that we're creating subconsciously, and then what I put out comes back to me in the same duality. So do unto others as you would yourself.
Yeah, do unto others, you could have others do unto you. In other words, treat people the way you want to be treated. And my mother used to tell me growing up, she says, no matter how bad it gets in life, you can always find somebody else that's got it worse than you.
Yeah,
and I'm
Napoleon
still looking.
Hill, though, he's dedicated it. I think it was word for word. He said, what you do to others is what you do to yourself.
Yes, he did.
And that's the reflection part that you're talking about specifically. And I like how his words do reflect the inner mirror that we all have when we start just going and going. You know, maybe we're on the phone with. Have you ever had that moment where you have that best friend that you always call, and they're just that one spectacle you get to just rant about all day too. You know, just be on the line for maybe an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's the kind of moment where you feel that joy of that just releasing the tension
Oh,
of the
yeah.
day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I love what Napoleon Hill said. He says, if you got to get it out of your system, I don't remember his exact words, but just go to YouTube. The seven, what's it called now? I'll let you think of
The
it.
seven disciplines from Napoleon Hill.
Self-disciplines from Napoleon Hill, yeah, and it'll come up. And he says, write it in the sand. Get it out of your system. Write it into the sand, and then when the tide comes in, it'll wash it all away. And you have not said anything because words, oh, they cut like a knife. There's been many times in my life, and I can say this as I think back through the pathway of life, there's been many times that I've been tempted to say something, but I didn't. And then down the road, I find out other things that I did not know. And I thought, thank you, sweet Jesus. I did not open my big mouth and say something because it would not have benefited that person at all. All it would have done was harm me.
I got a question for you, Jim.
Go ahead.
Have you ever been a pen pal with someone?
No, I never have,
You know,
except for my mother when I was in Vietnam.
Well, hey, I guess your mother does count as a pen pal.
Yeah.
Back in third or fourth grade, I believe, we were required to have a pen pal in a different country. And so we would look up, on the secure site, this pen palage where people were requesting to have a pen pal. And so I signed up for one guy, and I think, I can't remember his name, we'll call him Kevin. But, me and Kevin got along. We sent a few letters and a few things like that. But then, I got to thinking, this phrase that you just said about washing away the angry thoughts or negative emotions and frustrations toward this person, letting it go, putting it in the sand and then letting the water wash it. And then let it, and as you see, it's just a blank slate afterwards. That phrase, man, I mean, it really just goes to the relation of, texting something maybe to someone nowadays and then deleting it right afterwards and being like, nah, I don't want to text that.
Yeah.
Having that little self-doubt talk right there, that's the one we're trying to crush as much as humanly possible. And if we can relate that to any feeling in the world right there, it's that text message that you're coming out with, and you're really about it, risky text, but it's different than a joke. It's really about just being confident in your answers, being confident, thinking before you act, and formulating that strong opinion that is confident enough for you to be okay with. See,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Even in our show here, there's times I'll call up Adam and I'll say, what do you want to talk about this week? And because I respect his opinion, because he may have come across something, it could be a great topic that I would not be aware of, and because that's what you look for. You always look for, the energy, because when I'm going to go out here a little bit with Mr. Bill Heinrich here on this book, The 7 Levels of Truth.
Yes.
There's only 2 emotions on planet Earth. There's fear and there's love. We're born into a world of survival. Will I have enough? Can I pay my bills? What if this happens?
All of a sudden, my wife wants a new car. I need to be able to pay off this payment with my paycheck.
Yeah. Or your car breaks down, you got a big, huge bill, and I wasn't expecting that. I already have more a month than I got money.
Whatever obstacle comes into your path.
Bill talks about saying, come here, problem, I love you. I'm going to embrace you, because fear and love cannot coexist within you. It couldn't. It's kind of like daylight and dark. Think of love being like daylight, the brightness of your life, the abundance of life. And fear is the darkness. You know, if you go out at 12 noon, there's not going to be any darkness. There might not be bright sunlight, but it's going to be light, generally speaking. And the same is true at midnight. You're not going to go out at midnight and see half your environment dark and the other half light. They can't coexist. And Bill, in his sentence here on the top of this book here, I like to read this a lot and share this a lot with folks out there, because there's people out there in TV land that need to hear this. He says, this book is for anyone seeking answers and solutions and to enjoy success in life. This is what I want you to get your mind wrapped around. I want you to own this. And if you listen to The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, this will go hand in hand with this comment. It goes hand in hand with just what Adam said there just a few moments ago. Your birthright. You were born with this right. Just like you have the right for your heart to beat and you have the right for your lungs to breathe. All of those come from the same source. They're all a gift. But your birthright is for you to enjoy abundance, love, peace, and have harmony in your life. Who doesn't want that? And what does that cost you? Absolutely nothing. And when you're like that, and you got a positive attitude, guess what? People will want to be attracted to you. Give you an example of, you can pick any venue you want. But if people are in there and they're part of that enjoyment, when it's over, they want to hang around because of the good feeling that they had, because they know what's waiting out there in the world for them. Doom, despair, and agony on me.
Bills, the electric's going out because I can't pay it on Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're, they crave that. And when you have that type of personality and you have that ability to attract people to trust you, just like S.B. Fuller did, what he did didn't cost him anything because he worked and earned it.
And I'm not saying how to do this when I say what I'm about to say, Jim. It's more of a kind of an observation tactic in a sense. You go into your life surrounded by friends in the times when you're growing up, and eventually, since we all have cell phones or some kind of line of communication, email, public record, whatever, you find yourself, even if people are looking up to you, public records everywhere. You find your friends. When you hang around them, they have this law of attraction to them that attracts you to them.
Yeah.
And that vice versa understanding that you both, essentially game recognizing game or you recognizing something. Recognition is what the seek, so to speak.
Yeah.
But the best part about it is you find yourself wanting another person to be around you, not romantically, but as a friend, someone to support you, find some decisions, go out and have fun. But also you find yourself in a position of, work friends and that kind of thing. So there are these multiple genres, I'd say, if we're talking like a playlist of music, right, that we get to play when we get to go out. Right, and I feel like it's the people that are, that go out to maybe a nook, to go read a book or enjoy a cup of coffee and do some work, or when it comes to people that want to go downtown to the library because they want to go read a book, if they want to go out and have some dinner with someone, that kind of camaraderie. Because me and my friends in Full Sail, when we went from going into Full Sail, doing all of our classes, some of us were graduating, they had a little bit more time, so we would go out frequently. Not go out and drink and have parties and all that stuff, but definitely go out and have fun in the sense of we're all surrounded around a table, we're eating chicken and waffles, and we're having a good time because it's nice Louisiana cooking. And
there you go.
That part right there is what I personally strive for whenever it comes to those moments. I remember me and big guy Chewy, his boy Joey, and we'll just say their first names or forever, you know. But those people were super important to the development of what is now today, in the life of
Yeah.
their own lives, because they've progressed from doing that with just me and a few other buddies to multiple people.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen their growth. So it does work when you surround yourself. You do that a few times with a certain amount of people, and then you find your groove, that little wedge that you were looking for to put yourself in. And and they're abundant. If you mantra that for yourself, abundancy does come to me. Abundancy does come to me. It agrees with me. It's with me always. That is an amazing part that you can do with yourself subconsciously.
Oh, yeah. It really is. And, growing up, my mother and dad always told me, you're known by the company you keep. And that never goes away. I'm 75. If I hang around with a bunch of hoodlums, people are going to consider me to be a hoodlum, because that's who I chose. Listen up now. I chose to associate my good name with. Now, that being said, let's say you're wanting to expand your knowledge. And I forgot to put this up. Let me do that right now about the Ideas Worth Knowing. That's a show that we have on Thursdays.
Well, expanding knowledge, right? That's
Well, let me finish this right quick.
Go ahead.
As a good friend of mine put it, if you're going to be in a circle of friends or people that are knowledgeable, and they have the knowledge and they have the ability to do the things you can't do yourself a favor. Make sure you're the dumbest guy in there.
Wow.
And he says that way you can draw on their energy. He says only an egomaniac or a narcissist wants to be the top dog in a group.
How do you do that?
Yeah. Well,
what's that for?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What makes that?
And on Thursdays, our show's Ideas Worth Knowing, Emerson and Mike created this show. They approached me and wanted to align themselves with this TV show because of the success it has. Get my tongue going here. But they contacted, Mike has over 1,000 authors, and they're pulling books out of these authors to be shared complimentary wise. Is that here's a complimentary copy of this book that I wrote. I was fortunate enough to be invited into that group because we know if we bless somebody, when we talked about the reflection, if I bless somebody in India or Africa or wherever it might be, I'm going to be blessed somewhere down the road. It may come from China, it may come from Japan, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But if I project positive energy out, I'm attracting positive energy. And that is so important. So go there, you can get your complimentary card. They're upgrading the system and all, so if you can't get what you want or whatever, just email Mike Lewis at mike@ideasworthknowing.com, and he will be more than happy to help you find what it is that you need, because that's another great source that won't cost you anything to be able to pick their brains. It's called a mastermind principle. And
we all know about masterminds. Masterminds are very important because a lot of people out there, I mean, the ability to have what the top people, like the absolute professionals that are already doing this. I mean, think about it in the light and retrospect of who in your field has already done it, has already made success with it, and can create the exact desire that you're looking for. Why not go into the factor that you get that same knowledge and apply it to yourself?
Yeah.
For a great, it's a great opportunity.
I'll tell you something else that I've done, ladies and gentlemen. This is just me personally. I get approached because of the profile that I have, or if I want to say that, people are always trying to get me, hey, how become friends with me? How you doing today? Doing fine, yada, 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 all that stuff. And, have you invested in Bitcoin? And you know how I handle those people?
How do you handle them? Because I'm genuinely curious. I
Okay.
would love to share my own way.
Tell them,
I'll let you go first, for sure.
Okay. I tell them, I got a deal for you. I realize you may not be the decision maker, but get me in touch with the people that you work for in the organization or whoever, the higher up, and I will invite them on a series of shows on Monday, because that's our business show, where they take me under their wing. They front the money.
Right.
They help me grow in Bitcoin, and so we can share how that works.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
And you know what? For some strange reason, they all get unfamiliar with the English language. They because I get so tired of being pitched. Nobody wants to be pitched.
Nonstop. Yeah.
And
if you want to pitch something, you just wow, that would be a whole separate topic conversation for another day.
Yeah, it really would be.
I'd love to talk about that. So
yeah, absolutely, we can do that on a show.
A pitching segment, how to pitch.
Oh, yeah.
How to not pitch.
Because really, remember one thing, just like I said about the 6-minute webinar, if you're communicating with a stranger or if someone is coming to you, they're looking at it from their eyes only. What's in this for me?
Yeah, but backing on the...
And nobody likes to be sold. But everybody loves, to follow a leader that's got a good story, a good proven track record. And, no one, because most of those folks, I just get the opinion, all they want to do is sign me up and make money off of me.
That's essentially what they do.
Yeah, and I told them, I says, I don't know anything about the industry. Why would I want to invest money in something if I don't understand the industry?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can show you what I do, and and they want to show you all the numbers and pictures and you don't even know if those pictures are real or not.
Yeah, and I'm not even a financial advisor, and as much as I can manage my own taxes, my gosh, there's only so much you can do with finances. The part here is that you're trusting someone else with your funds, and they never do that. I've learned my lesson of plenty of times doing this exact same thing where you'll definitely loan out, grab this thing, it's only this much Bitcoin or whatever. There's plenty of those.
Unless the person is licensed, bonded, insured, and has an errors and emissions bond to protect you, an insurance policy. But the moral of this story is, when you're out there and you're trying to improve your life, you're trying to give someone to give you, reach up and get you by the hand and give you a step up, so that you can also hold your other hand back and pull somebody else up too at the same time. Make sure.
I love that show.
Yeah,
it's stuck in my head now. I can't believe the Bitcoin Advisor show. That would be an amazing, spectacle that people would love to see. I would love to see if someone can come out here and seriously do that, because that would send an increasingly amount of speculation out into the public, which creates what's the truth versus the
because
the real.
there's so many scammers out there in Bitcoin, and that scares people. And they all give you these cotton, scammers got some of the best cotton candy stories you ever heard in your life.
Oh boy.
And, so if I was in that industry and I was legit, and when I told people that I could help them increase their funds or whatever, I'd be more than happy to come on TV, because I could use that TV show. I've been seen on TV. I've been seen on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. I helped this guy through. We did 4 or 5 shows together, from one week to the next. And it was broadcast out in TV land. And, television gives you instant credibility. I mean, to prove my point, you walk into a store. Let's say that you're going to buy a vacuum cleaner.
This is a Kirby vacuum cleaner?
Oh, it doesn't matter which one. It just, the one you got at the house is bad, and you got
the
40.
Dyson.
Yeah, you got your, you're going to go buy one, and you're looking at the different brands there, and you see one's got that little sticker on it that says, as seen on TV. Your subconscious mind will automatically tell you, well, if it's seen on TV, it's got to be good.
The wow factor right there.
Yeah.
Right in your face.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, no one has taken me up on that. And what would it cost them to do that? To prove that they're credible, to prove that they're honest. This is my website. Oh, and I want to give a shout out. This is a nicety to know. NUMLOOKUP.com. numlookup.com. It's a free service. I use it all the time. You get a phone number in on your cell phone. You don't know who it is. And I get a lot of calls, and so I'll go to NUMLOOK, excuse me. I keep wanting to say Numlock. It's Numlook.
Yeah, Numlook. Okay. Yeah. It relates to, and what is Numlook? Yeah.
Okay, what they do, you can put the number in there, and you can actually put the number in there, do a search, and they will let you know if it's a landline. They will let you know if it's a cell phone. I put my phone number in there, and they told me it's Jim Grant, cell phone, AT&T. But if it's a VoIP number, oh my, that's the one.
That's when you know that
you're dealing
it's someone
with
who's
shady.
So these are essentially what they are. Is they're this box, right? Mm-hmm. There's this Raspberry Pi in there that generates a bunch of fake phone numbers that signs up for a free trial service on free kind of. It's a very monotonous little process, but it happens in a split second.
Oh yeah, and these people
and they create these fake phone numbers from that IP address.
Yeah, exactly.
So they use the IP rather than, and it's a fake IP. It's not a real one. It's something to deter the other people from going on that. I'm getting a little more into that, but regardless,
the point being, if it's a VoIP number, there is nobody in your life, no one in your life, that has a VoIP number that you need to talk to.
Trust.
And that website again is numlookup.com. NUMLOOKUP. And when I say it's free,
you were talking to me about Melaleuca.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a great company. It really is.
Relating all the way back to our previous conversation on the wiping services, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the information I found was on looking up, labels myself and being able to do my own research, because I like to research. Because if I tell someone something on the air, on the TV show, I've researched it. This is not an opinion. It's something that, because people trust me. And if I make a mistake, you know what? I've come on before. I don't remember the last time, but I have come on TV show and said, ladies and gentlemen, I made a mistake the other day when I said this, and I correct it because I owe that to the audience out there. That's where your credibility that comes in. That's where your integrity come in. Your word, your name is all you've got. That's what you own. And if your word is worthless and your name stinks, you're in trouble. We got about a minute and a half left. But I tell you, I've really enjoyed this show. What do you want to talk about next week? You got any idea yet?
Well, I think it was the pitching, understanding how to pitch in any industry, and what not to do when pitching.
Yeah, we can do. We'll get Emerson on there with us.
We'll definitely try to pinpoint some. I guess we want to call out a little company, maybe one company that we could give a free resource to, that would hopefully either reach out to us, even to do something with them to find these young people an opportunity is pretty much just finding opportunity as a young person. What to do with that.
Yeah, exactly. We might invite Emerson to come on because he's got some great ideas on that too, because young people learning how to present themselves and how to approach others. And yeah, that'd be a great one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone today. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of Adam and myself, we sincerely hope we've shared some great information with you. And please remember, anything that you have any questions on, if there's any information you want from us, you can reach us here at the TV station. Just email us at inspiration@e360tvlive.com. And we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to have Emerson Brantley, and I think I might be Mike is on vacation, so I'll probably be filling in for Mike on Ideas Worth Knowing. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same station, everything. Anyway, appreciate you folks. Adam, thank you so much for being with us today. It's always a pleasure.
Always.
And we'll get with Emerson on that. We're going to nail that next week. So be sure and tune in. We'll see you next time.
Healthy and grateful, folks. Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.